Welcome to Live on Purpose. It's your girl Purpose, and we're back with another wonderful show. Today we have a musician with us, Jared Goldweber. You're going to find out some great and interesting things about him. But stick and stay. Get your glass of wine and let's get it. So as I told you, I have Jared Goldweber with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So listen, I'm excited because just a few seconds ago, for those of you who are now just watching, I heard you outside playing a bit. So we'll get to that in a second. But tell me how and why the harmonica?
Well, my mom, I was about 12 or 13, and my mom saw an ad in the school for a thing called Smart in the City, and it was a program from the Cleveland Foundation for kids, and it taught acting, dancing, and everything. And I didn't want to go because I didn't want to dance. I danced like a meatball. I was horrible. So my mom, being her pushy self, she goes, "You're going. I don't really care. You're going." And so exactly. So we got there, and she literally kicked me out of the car and kicking and screaming, and I walked in, and like there were all these kids there, about like 50 or 60 kids, and they're like, they had like different modules, and so I went over to the music, and they gave each kid a harmonica, and it just I learned there for 5 weeks, and then like everything kind of took off from there.
Okay, so harmonica is your thing.
Yeah.
Do you play any other instruments?
I'm a bass guitarist, a little bit. I'm not the most proficient at it, and I'm also a singer, so I sing in my own band too.
Listen to you. Okay, how cool. So where has your band been?
We've been to a lot of places, actually. We just got back in August. We were in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and we played down at Morgan Freeman has a bar down there called Ground Zero. And so I've headlined there 4 times, but the last time I was there was the first time that the whole band has gone down there.
Exciting.
So it's been a wonderful journey.
So from being a 12-year-old kid, getting pushed out of the car, now you're at Morgan Freeman's bar headlining.
I thank my mom every day for that, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten there.
So let's talk about some of the obstacles you faced with your journey so far.
I think the biggest obstacle is that I was so young, because when you walk in and you're a 12 or 13-year-old kid, and you walk into a bar or you walk into a place that you're playing music, people underestimate you.
Yeah.
And so I had to constantly go through dues and proving myself, and that was always a really big thing for me. I mean, there were times I would go to jam night and I would get sent up at like 2 o'clock in the morning because I would be like the last of the last people.
Yeah.
So like it just depends on. I think age was probably the biggest factor in all of that.
Okay. So you've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are you inspiring or aspiring to do with your musical career?
Yeah, that's a fun one. I don't know. I've always wanted to, I learned a lot from YouTube. There was a lot of YouTube stuff. They call my generation the YouTube generation, the YouTube babies. That's what they call them. Okay. So every time I seen a major harmonica player, they go, "Oh, you're part of the YouTube generation," which that's true. There's 2 really main people, Adam Gusso and Jason Ritchie. Those are the guys that kind of they teach more modern stuff, and so I always try to take that more modern approach. So I don't know, seeing them teach, I've always wanted to take the harmonica for a younger generation, because you know how many people there are playing an instrument my age?
Not many.
I think I can count them on my hands. It's very few, and we're scattered all across the United States. So I would love to bring the instrument more for the generation that's coming up, or my generation that wants to learn. That's really what I want to achieve.
Now, when you play, it's very soulful. It's like from almost like you were here before.
Right.
So it comes from a very deep place. How do you get into that zone, or just are you always there?
It's a process. When I first started playing, it was kind of like an essence or a being, kind of like being in there. It's kind of like being in a different mindset, and when you approach it, it doesn't happen all the time, but when you go into that mindset, they call it the zone. Musicians call it the zone. Yeah. And so you can go into that mindset, but it's the right precautions have to be there, and you can't be thinking, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff that has to be in that. It gets to the point that you know your instrument so well you don't think.
Right.
And you just
become one with the instrument and go.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
What type of compliments or comments do you get after the shows?
I get a lot of good ones. I get a lot of bad ones, but
you get bad ones.
It depends on the people. It depends on the people.
Okay.
But I always take criticism, but I also take like compliments to heart. Mm-hmm. But no offense to the audience, but I always like a compliment from like a major musician because those are the compliments I hear and I look for, because those are the guys that are like, okay, I've been doing this for so and so years.
Right.
This is what I can apply to you. But I always love compliments. Compliments are always a good thing.
So what's the one thing that maybe you've heard from a major musician that kind of changed your outlook or changed what you do on stage or anything like that?
People used to say I rushed, and that was a big thing. So musicians usually either drag or rush. What that means is they usually don't play with the tempo, and they usually are too slow or too fast. And so I always rushed, because I feel like when you're in the presence of someone like that, you're like, you just kind of like get all nervous. And so like it always happened. So when I would see those people, I would always like get really nervous. And so they told me, slow down, take your time. Yeah. It's not the end of the world. So like that, I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken from all those guys. It's just like, slow down, be yourself, don't worry about it. You're fine.
Right.
I'm just a person. Get over it.
Yeah. Are you hard on yourself?
Very.
Most musicians are, right?
Well, I don't think it's just music. I think I just hard on myself in general, and I just kind of like transferred in.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I gotta do better. That has to sound better. It needs to envelop. It needs to be different. I don't know what, and I kind of get frustrated. So I always tell my students, learn something, and if you're not getting it, you're getting frustrated. Step back and come to it tomorrow. Yeah. Because then it's going to be like, comes to you like that. And then you're going to be like, oh, why was that so hard? That was way easier. Okay. So. Okay.
When we come back, we're going to actually hear a little something from Jared and ask a few more questions. So make sure you stick around. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. See, I could have got into that all the time. Okay. So tell me something. Tell me how obviously you have an impediment. Tell me how that has affected harmonicas, because obviously you use both hands, right?
Yeah. Well, for the audience, I only have 8 fingers. I was born like this. My mom's like, count 10 fingers, count 10 toes, and so she was all doped up from all the drugs that they gave her in the hospital, and she kind of like looked on the floor, like that's a bad joke.
I'm like, wait.
So, but it was always hard for me to find an instrument. Like, and I was really musical. Like, I loved music. I mean, I wasn't like the typical kid. I like used to listen to Muddy Waters and Herb Albert. Like really.
You weren't the typical kid.
No, no. So I always looked for that, and so I tried trumpet because I'm like, oh, 3 fingers, 3 valves. I'm fine. I'm cool, and it just failed miserably. So I tried guitar. It didn't work, and when I got to the camp, it was like it just instantly fell in because I didn't have to worry about it.
Okay.
And harmonica players, when you play a harmonica normally, you're supposed to hold it like this, or no, like this. You're supposed to hold it with your left hand, and you use your right hand to do inflections and stuff. Well, I hold it with my right hand, and I do it with my left, and it creates it differently. So even with harmonica, I found modifications for my hand, and I'm doing it that way. Yeah. So.
But I think there's a testimony there, like, because regardless, you knew you were musical and you're just like, I'm going to keep until I find an instrument that works because you
Right.
just, so you were persistent and it doesn't matter. I'm going to find something that works for me.
No, absolutely. It was always a thing that was always a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to a musical instrument, I wanted it to be a part of me as my hand was always
Right.
a part of me.
That's inspiring, I think.
Thank you.
So you said you teach?
I do. I teach students. I have a student right now in West Virginia that's a friend of mine. So
Okay.
I try to teach more here in Cleveland. I try to do individual lessons. I do Skype lessons. So if someone's out of town, I can always go, here's my Skype, and you can just PayPal me the money later. And so I try to do the first lesson free because I always make sure that people have a good experience the first time.
Mm-hmm. That's good business.
Because for a harmonica player, you don't know what they are. You don't know what level they are at first. So I don't want to take their money and be like, oh, well, you're this, and figure it out the first lesson. I wanted the first lesson to be the figuring out part.
Okay.
And that be a free lesson so I can just figure out where they're at. So I have an idea. So I do a couple of lessons, and they're here and there, but I try to do them as much as I can. That's good. I am going to college full time, so it's hard for me.
Okay. So do you tour often? Do you go out to perform often?
I try. During school, I try to take a little bit of a break because it is really difficult for me to do stuff like that. But I have a couple of gigs here and there through the spring and through the fall. Okay. But when summer hits, it's just head on all over the place. I was at Kent Blues Fest last year. I'm hoping to get there this year, and there's a bunch of places. I play on the Good Time 3 that goes around Cleveland, so that's always a fun gig. Oh my God, those party people.
Oh yeah,
they're
it definitely is a party on this.
Right?
Yes,
right?
Yes. So that's cool. Well, how about you tell our viewers how they can learn more about you, your band, and all that fun stuff?
Oh, I get to look at the camera now. Hi, guys. So you can check out the band website at www.theparkbrotherscleveland.com. That's how you can reach our website. You can find our dates, and you can find pictures of us and bios and all that wonderful stuff. To find out more about us, you can also check out our Facebook page. It's Jared Goldweber and the Park Brothers. That's my band. And so, but the guys are great. I love them, and it's just we've had so much fun.
It's that's what it's about.
Having so much fun with them. No, that's exactly what it's about. People forget that when you're a musician. You're like, gigs. I got to have gigs. And then you're like, no, it's actually about just chilling out, having fun, and just enjoying the music.
I think that's when the band meshes the most, and you're all in the zone at the same time when it's about the fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
I know. And more, hopefully, I'll get to come to a Jared Goldweber show.
I would love it.
Awesome. Can you play us out a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Jared Goldweber. Thanks for tuning in for another great show. We'll see you guys next week right here on Live on Purpose.